And Andrea, welcome to your first Q&A session.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Okay, so for all of you who don't know who I am, I'm Andrea's sister. I'm normally behind the camera, but tonight I have come in front of it to ask some questions that have been posted to you from your fans. All right?
Okay, hope they're not going to be too hard now.
Well, we'll start with the first one and see how it goes. The first one is from Laura, and the question is, how do you look after your voice?
Oh, that's a great question actually. Thanks, Laura. Okay, well, lots of water is really important, and I think there's a few obvious things you can do. I probably don't do some of them as much as I should, which is the vocal exercises. And of course, another thing is plenty of rest of your voice. Hannah might say that I don't operate that policy as often as I should either, especially with the talking. But yes, definitely rest in your voice, plenty of water, a good healthy diet and plenty of exercise. And of course, when you do go to sing or you've got a big speaking engagement, I would say definitely do those vocal exercises because they will help you warm your voice up.
Can you give us an example of a vocal exercise now?
Well, there's one I quite like doing, which is the siren, but it's quite loud, so anybody at home with sensitive ears, close your ears, or maybe remove any dogs from the room. Woo! That's just a small sample.
And this is quite a small room, so I'm really, really sorry I asked that. Okay, that's good. Thanks for that. The next question is from Gary, who would like to know when you will record a duet with Philomena Bagley.
This wouldn't be Gary Gamble by any chance?
It would be Gary Gamble, yes.
Hello Gary, how are you? And just a big shout out to you, Gary, because you've been keeping us all majorly entertained with all your Facebook lives during lockdown, so thank you.
And I just wanted to say as well your Bingo Bonanza, which I've played and is super fun.
Yeah, unfortunately I haven't got around to getting. I need to get a braille version of the bingo to get a go on it myself now. But yeah, no, thanks for that question, Gary. Of course, sure. Couldn't definitely. It's just a question at this stage of picking the song. And I 100% want to do a duet with Auntie Philly. We did, we have toured together and we have sung on stage together. I think we did Red as the Rose before now, and then at Christmas we did a little version of Silent Night before now. So I think we definitely need to get that sorted. I don't know if it's going to be 2020 because, well, there's just so many other things happening in 2020, but yeah, it's just really trying to pick the right song at this stage, but it's something I really, really do want to do. And for anybody who's not familiar out in the wider audience with myself and my background, my aunt is Philomena Bagley, who is the Queen of Country herself, and so it would just be lovely to do a duet together.
Indeed.
Might even get Hannah in on the act, although that might then be not a duet anymore, but hey, you know, could be a family. Go for a family thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who would we compete with then as a group of family singers.
I don't know.
The Von Trapps, the Von
Nolans.
Begleys, the Nolans. Yeah, I'm sure Auntie Philly would love to come in alongside us and be referred to as the Begley sisters. Okay, the next one is from Kieran. And they would like to know, do you still keep in contact with other contestants from The Voice and the voice coaches?
Oh, thanks, Kieran. Well, yeah, I do. I probably more so at the beginning, the first couple of years. Myself and Hannah would have kept in touch with some of the contestants, and of course Danny, online and on the phone. Not so much these days. I think it's been something like 7 years now since the show. So just by sort of natural course of events, we've probably lost touch with each other. But I do keep up with what they're up to on social media, and I know Danny still keeps an eye on my progress as well. I think he might have. Oh yeah, actually a couple of months ago he was on Mrs. Brown's Boys with Brendan O'Carroll, of course, and he gave me a little mention. So I know he still keeps a good eye on my career, which is lovely. And yeah, it was such a great time. Hannah was part of that voice journey as well. She was my very helpful assistant back then too. So we've lots of wonderful memories, and every so often things will come up and we'll be like, remember back whenever we're doing all the stuff with the voice and behind the stage and all the different characters, because everybody that was involved, both contestants, coaches and background team and the production, were lovely, and we got on so well with so many people. So
Yeah, just actually when you said that, I've had flashbacks of the the contestants. They weren't just singing on the show; they were also performing in their hometowns, and they were doing gigs and concerts. Some of them came to Belfast, and it was such. It was so nice that we were able to.
Cleo, we went to see Cleo.
Yeah, we went to see Cleo and
Thriller.
and I saw a couple of guys play in London and Liverpool.
That's right.
When I was visiting, and so it's great that there's like this network of musicians. When you ever get the opportunity to go and listen to live music.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
someday soon again. But
okay, the next question is an international question. From Rosa, and they would like to know when you're gonna come to Brazil.
Oh, amazing. Well, I don't speak very much Portuguese, but hola, bom dia. I know that quite a few people listen to my music in Brazil. I've been totally overwhelmed and surprised by the great following that I have in Brazil. So obrigado to everybody in Brazil who's downloaded and streamed my music there. I know a lot of people followed me during the voice journey and have continued to support my new music and my recent album, Soul of a Songbird. So I actually have been to Brazil a few years ago as a tourist, and it was amazing. I went to the Iguaçu waterfalls and to Rio de Janeiro and to Búzios as well. So I had a wonderful trip, and I would dearly love to come back to Brazil, especially to do some musical performances. So hopefully when the pandemic improves and we can all get back to travelling more, I would definitely love to go to Brazil.
So that's Andrea Begley coming to your local bossa nova spot sometime soon.
Can't promise my samba's definitely not very good anyway. I went to a samba class when I holidayed in Brazil, and I also went to a tango class in Argentina when I was there, so I think I better stick to the singing. I don't think the dancing's it's not my skill base. Hannah can testify to that one.
People in glass houses, I won't throw any stones. Okay, next question is from Aman. They want to know, is life as good off social media as it appears on social media?
Oh, that's a really insightful question. I think a lot of people know now that that you can create an impression online of what your life is like, and outside of that it could be totally different. Of course, your day-to-day ordinary things aren't necessarily the stuff you post on social media, but certainly my life outside of Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and so on is very good at the moment. All things considered, I'm back living with my parents and with my sister Hannah. And it's been challenging, like it has for everybody during the COVID pandemic. I definitely don't have as much independence as I had before, and as a visually impaired person, my independence was quite limited anyway, and I'd learned to adapt to that, and I managed well with it. But certainly as time has gone on with the pandemic, I've found a routine. I try to stick to that every day. I get up around 8:30 and go for a walk, and try to just keep to a reasonable, normal routine and do my music practice and songwriting, and of course videos in between time, and torture Hannah accordingly. She didn't realise that she was taking up a part-time career as a YouTube host and video host, interviewer and video host. You're gonna have to put that in your CV now.
Actually, can I add to that? Sound director, lighting, hair and makeup.
I know. The inventory just gets longer and longer. I'm slightly worried about the potential invoice at the end of all this. But yeah, no, it's been good, and routine I think does help. I do miss things. I miss getting to see my friends, just like everybody does, and I miss probably the greater level of freedom that we all had before this, but hopefully we'll get there someday again soon.
Yeah, same as you, Andrea. I've taken the sort of the silver lining here of the COVID cloud, and I've decided to come back home and spend more time with yourself and the parents. And like, when have we had that opportunity in the last 10 years or so, and when will we get an opportunity like this again? So it's just taken those positives, and we're very, very lucky to say that life for us is as good
as it can be,
as it can be off and on camera. And that being said, I'm sure any twists or fights between you and I, and this conversation will be edited out.
Yeah, wait till we edit out the right at the start.
Okay, and the last question I had written down is one from Stina. I hope I pronounced that right. Have you ever doubted leaving other things for your pursuit of music?
That's a great question. So I mean, to be honest, at the moment I also have another job which I still do Monday to Friday. So I work for the government, which is the job I did before I went on The Voice, and it's a job that I really enjoy. So I took a couple of years career break and went back to doing that as well as the music. And I'm very, very fortunate to be able to do both things at the moment, work from home with that job and also be able to do more practicing with my music, songwriting, get new music out there, and I've got new music coming soon. So keep a watch on all the social platforms, and you'll see a new single coming very, very shortly. But yeah, it's been good. I've been fortunate to be able to do some amazing things with music. I've got to travel with it, perform to people in Windsor Castle and in the Albert Hall and in Beijing, and I hope to do lots more of that once things go back to some degree of normality. But certainly I consider myself very lucky to be able to do different careers, but hopefully get a nice mixture, which is really the most important thing. And you've got to enjoy doing whatever you work at in whatever field, and I'm very lucky that I can.
Okay, great. Well, we did talk about the format of this. We decided just to select a handful of questions to look at, and then we'll come back and do another Q&A session. So apologies to anyone who's put in a question and it hasn't been answered in this session. We will do it again.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Assuming that I haven't been fired as host and I'm just kicked to the behind the camera work again.
Well, to be honest, I don't think you have a huge amount of replacement options. Not that that's the only reason you're staying in situ. But yeah, no, you're right, Hannah, and thank you very much for doing the questions, because well, it would have been a bit strange me just having to talk to myself. But yeah, thanks so much folks for sending in the questions in the first place, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube. It's Andrea Begley Official, and also you can get me on all Facebook, Twitter, Instagram under Andrea Begley Music as well. And thanks for listening, and hopefully we'll be back with you soon for some more questions and answers and a bit of a laugh as well.
Yeah, and you forgot to say you're available in all good music stores.
Oh sorry, yes, of course.
Andrea is available in all good music stores.